I hear it all the time from students. I know chords, I know some scales and theory, but I can't seem to put it all together to solo and sound good. We're going to connect some dots today and put you on a good path. I can't remember when I first heard about chord tones as the key to good soloing. Maybe it was 15 or 20 years ago. I remember thinking, I should probably know this, and it's probably easy, but I really didn't know it. In fact, my first mistaken impression was that you should play arpeggios like this. Obviously, that is not a cool way to solo, so I ditched it and went back to my scales. But a little later, I did see that if I focused on the very last note of a lick, that playing a chord tone was helpful. For example, let's say I was playing a blues in A. And suppose I used the standard minor pentatonic box to solo over the A chord. If I envisioned an A chord embedded into the scale, I could learn to land on a note in that chord, say the root of the chord or the third of the chord. So I learned that whenever there was a pause in my solo, I could play a chord tone and it sounded great. But there's still a learning block for people learning chord tone soloing. When? When do you land on that chord tone? It turns out a number of places work, but one place that always works is the first beat of a measure of a new chord. Here's a quick example. But how? How do you develop that sense for what chord tone to play and when? Here it is. It's a simple exercise anyone can do. It's in 2 stages, and make sure you stick around because there's a secret thing that happens when you do this exercise. And it's a good thing, so make sure you stick around to hear it. The first stage is so simple. We're going to do it over the A blues shown here. Every time there's a chord change, you're going to play the root note of the chord on beat 1 of the measure. It's important that you play it on beat 1. We'll pick an area of the fretboard. Any area is okay. Here I've chosen frets 4 through 8. Now I'll map out all of the A notes for the A chord, all the D notes for the D chord, and now all the E notes for the E chord. Notice that we don't need a scale for this. We just need the roots of the chord. And we could also do it for other notes in the chord, but we're keeping it simple right now and just doing the roots of the chord. I know it's kind of boring, but bear with me. Stage 2 will make it all clear why we're doing this. Here's how it sounds. All right, here we go. We're playing the root on beat 1. First an A, now a D, back to A. I can play any A or any D. Back to A. Another A. Okay, here comes my E. Okay. Now the turnaround E. Start again. Hopefully that was easy, although it may have been difficult for you not to dealy-dee and play a bunch of other notes. But now comes the path to real music. We're not just going to play the root on the first beat, but we're also going to play an anticipation note. What's that? It's any note that's not the root of the chord. For example, it could be a chromatic note toward the nut, or a chromatic note toward the bridge, or a scale tone toward the nut, and so forth. Notice that it can be any note, and that's the point. We're resolving on the root on the first beat of the measure. Here's how it sounds. Okay, we're playing the anticipation note and then the root on the first beat of the measure. Doesn't matter above or below. Back to the D. to the A, to the E, and we're done. Okay, so what's the secret? Actually, there are two of them. First, you're developing your ears and fingers to recognize musical events, chord changes, when you're off them, when you're on them. Second, it forces you to leave space, and that helps you break that habit of always doing that deedly-dee, that random playing that goes nowhere. But this is just the tip of the iceberg for chord tone soloing. If you really want to stop noodling and start playing with intent, check out this video, because in it, I show you a process and an easy example for chord tone soloing. So check this out, and I'll see you on down the road.